Check. 1 2 1 2. Vator Games in the building. Let me make sure the levels are good. Let me make sure everything's nice and clean. Actually, I won't need the headphones. Oh, yeah, actually, I'm going to need the headphones. All right. First things first, my peoples come first. My peoples, those here with us today, those that have passed, always remembered. I'm Vator Games. This is Vator Games TV. This is episode 99. Episode 99. All right. Big. You know what it means to Manchester City, Centurions, the 100 mark. We're celebrating 130 years of Manchester City. Getting to that number. Now, I'm on Twitter X. I'm on YouTube. Let me actually get the music. Let me get the music off. Now, you see what's happening here. If you're tuning into the channel for the first time, it's kind of like what I do. It's a little diary that I do weekly as best as I can, depending on work schedule, family schedule, life schedule, all of that stuff. But I'm here. And you see the topics. Rivals see and hear me. They see and hear me. But they don't look and listen. They don't look and they don't listen. So we're going to be addressing that. And I'm hoping to have a few other the City family join me today. And I think I just saw the man. I'm going to introduce the man in a minute. Now, topics here on the screen, right there. It's going to be concise. I'm going to put on this 5-minute timer. We're going to discuss each topic and bang through it. Also, what I like to do every episode is I got to show love to the very first comment in the building. And despite this man being an op, he's an amazing supporter, and he's been tremendous. So I want to show some love. And he's already done it himself. Staffy TV, if you don't know, we did a show on Sunday instead of Monday, which is American Waffle. Quality show. Go back and check that out. Subscribe and like his content. Leave a like on the way in. Appreciate that, Staffy. And let me also shout out my man Steve. Steve Vader. What's good? Steve, Newcastle United fan. Let me clear that up. Newcastle United fan. And the man watches, I believe he's got 4 or 5 screens. I'm not sure how he's able to do it, but he's able to watch mad games. Very knowledgeable. Show him some love in his channel. Yo, respect, man. Respect. Now, Letty, let's go. Listen, we're going to go. I'm going to get through these early comments, which is always appreciated. Vader, we tried telling them their teams are overhyped. Y'all are too good. The overhype is real. Rivals get overhyped is real. And I'm going to bring my man in the backstage very soon. 2 more comments, and then we're going to get into it. But the overhype is real. We know this. Media darlings in Liverpool. Second in terms of media hype to Liverpool is Arsenal. So when those 2 clubs are in the mix, they're going to get talked to at a high level. We know this. City always get downplayed, but it seems like it's inevitable that we're on our way. Dre P in the building. It's amazing how rivals are so emotional. Like their teams, so many are already throwing in the towel. Yeah, it's absolutely disrespectful. It's pitiful. It's pitiful is actually the word. And it shows that there's no guts. And you can't, with no guts, there's no glory. You have to be able to fight it through. And yeah, a lot of these rivals are showing that they don't have it. Complaining how their players aren't as talented and don't cost as much. Excuses. And I'm going to add another excuse to that bad boy. Dre P, the win versus Luton shows just why Pep is as good as he is. Rotation is key for him, helps manage injuries, and allows his team to just be there towards the end. Facts. The rotation, the question, Pep roulette, all these rivals that are complaining when they do their fantasy football. My players, I don't even know who Pep's going to start. It's messing things up. He does it for a reason. And we're going to get into it. I got my man, Don Smoke, in the building. Let me introduce him. It's been a minute. Schedule's finally lining up. How you doing, Don Smoke?
Yo, Vator, man. Bless up, man. Bless up. And I'm blessed, man. Can't ask for any more, man. And yourself?
I'm good. I've been catching you here and there, doing what you do, bringing the smoke all the time. I know our schedules haven't quite lined up. I'm trying to balance the work life, wife life, kid life, and the shows have been kind of a little sporadic. But I'm glad to have you on today, and the support's been tremendous. I'm seeing good number of viewers right now. Please, if you happen to be on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, drop a comment, be a part of the show. If you're watching on the other apps, if you happen to be on Twitter X, again, you can still drop a comment, but go on to the other platform. Use your burner, go onto your desktop, hit a comment. Now, I got this timer here on the screen, but even before I get to it, I want to point out the imagery. All right, imagery is important. We're getting into an age where not everybody's choosing to read. A lot of people are using emojis and they're looking pictures, and that's how they ingest information. All you need to do, if you want to know what happened this weekend in particular, what's important, look at these pictures right here. Look at these pictures. On Saturday, you see those smiles? Manchester City versus Lutton Town. And we're going to talk about it. And then on Sunday, a day later, look, you got Trent Alexander, his head in his hands. You got record signing Declan Rice, head in his hands. Liverpool, Arsenal, the day after City won versus Lutton Town. We're going to do it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to throw the question to Don Smoke first. When I start the timer, because I want to keep this concise, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 topics, 5 minutes a topic. Let's go through it. Now, Don Smoke, speak on the City win versus Lutton Town and the applied pressure. We've already broken down the game many times, but I want you to speak on the applied pressure of City winning on Saturday.
You know, like, contrary to popular belief, like, you only win the title from here on, right? And it's only from April where you see who are the real title contenders. And I think our team just reminded us of, we've been here before. This is know-how and this is experience. Because if you watch the game, it's more like we were speeding as the game was moving on, and not the other way around, whereby we came out too quick off the blocks.
Yeah,
I think it was a very matured performance, and it just showed our experience at this stage of the season. Of, we know how to get these results without exerting too much energy, and because we know there are other games to come. And that's all. And that's big up to the manager, the squad, and the fans.
it's Don Smoke. It's huge. It's huge. And again, like when Pep's trying to challenge these players, when he's trying to actually maybe play a little bit outside of their comfort zone, when he's actually forcing these players to actually compete for their position, merit based. Show what you do in practice, and then I'll reward you with what you do on the weekend in terms of playing. When he does all of that, it then leads into, like you mentioned, it leads into March, more importantly, April. And then as we get into some of these other topics, it gets into where he's able to realize what the players can do and can't do. What I loved about this game on Saturday was it was the first game for me, obviously for the day, and watching it, because I believe Spurs played earlier, which was, yeah, that's another story. But when we played and watching the game, I was like, okay, I like the rotation. I like who he's choosing to play today. And there's been a lot of questions based off of those players. But the performance that they put in was like, okay, everyone's dialed in. Everybody knows that, hey, what I do on the weekend may reward me to be able to play midweek. Or I know that I'm trusted to play on the weekend, and for the sake of the team, it's going to benefit us moving forward. The performance to almost to a T. One could maybe, and we'll talk about it, one could maybe talk about Nunes and maybe being out of position at times, but the performance to a T at this latter stage of the season was huge. And Luton Town, again, I went into this game, I said 2-1, maybe 3-1. I just wanted to kind of chip away at the goal differential. 5-1 was very unexpected. But like you said, it was almost like cruise control the way the players handled it. Do you think Arsenal, as we got 2 minutes left, do you think Arsenal and Liverpool saw that win and kind of lost it? What happened in the Liverpool game in particular?
I think the Liverpool game is more of them just failing to bounce back, but the Arsenal game is more of the pressure that came to them after Liverpool dropping. Because remember, we've always said that Arsenal don't perform when the pressure is on them to take the next step, right? And we saw this last year when Arsenal was in the lead, they crumbled, whereby when they were behind Liverpool, they were winning. Right. So it's more of with Liverpool is just
Yeah,
they ran out of steam, but Arsenal it's more of pressure.
I
Pressure
agree.
got into them. Yeah.
I agree. So, and we're gonna get in. We're gonna get into it. The topics. These topics aren't by accident. Listen, the reason why I maybe not drop content on the regular and maybe not just free flow and things is because I want to take time to kind of think things through. If it happens to be, a couple hours late or a day late with regards to what's kind of trending, so be it. But hopefully you guys are enjoying what Don Smoke and myself have to say on things. The pressure was so clear to me, I think, in both games because yeah, it'd be a question on whether Liverpool can maintain that level. But all I've been hearing, and when it comes from those that speak on their clubs, their fan base, you know that it's applied to the players as well. Every Liverpool fan was saying, "We know what City are. We know how they string games together." A lot of them didn't want to say that they were favorites when they saw City win and the poor start that they had within that game and how difficult Crystal Palace were. I think the pressure mounted on them, and Arsenal was like, "Ooh." I think they took the foot off the gas a little bit. I think they also realized 5-1. Ooh, goal differential. We got to work. The players, it seeps into the players as much as the fan base. And this is why I think us playing first and applying that pressure is huge. Now, I'm going to keep these topics. Anyone in the comments right now on the channel, if if you happen to kind of just see the time mark in terms of the video, forget it. I'm gonna do my best to do this myself. I'm gonna do this myself. I got my pen here. I'm gonna mark it. My lighting is actually messing this up a little bit. There we go. All right. Let me do this nice and clean. Vader game. Okay. We're gonna stay on topic with regards to rivals. Rivals see and hear me. I know this. I know for a fact rivals see and hear me. You know what? Rivals see and hear myself as well as Don Smoke. And if it on another day, true City fan Patrick would be here, Gundelorian, Pitch Points, Adam, Mancuniue, Martin would all be here as well. So they, and I know rivals, I know you see and hear us. I know it. But you're not looking. You're not listening. It's not seeping in. I don't know why, but it's not seeping in. Let me point this out. And yes, like many of you out there, you like to do the I told you so. This is a Vader and Don Smoke, I told you so. This is what's happening right now. For 5 minutes, I'm telling you, I told you so. Last season, I told you so. Arsenal fans, you were chirping a little too much. You're a little too chatty. And I'm going to call out. I'm calling out because some of you live on Twitter X. So you don't quite get this smoke because you're not on the YouTube. You're not over here. So I'm gonna call some people out. Mo Arsenal living on Twitter X. AK Arsenal fan living on Twitter X. Gunners videos living on Twitter X. Egal, he's on Twitter X. He's also on YouTube. You all know Egal. Arteta's Revenge on Twitter X. El Jefe on Twitter X. I told you so last season. I told you so last season with regards to the league isn't won until April and May. Y'all didn't want to listen. Y'all were front running and talking all big and bad. 93% you led the league. You got humbled. You got reminded. You were taught a lesson from those that have won it and done it before. Taught a lesson from not only City fans, but Liverpool fans were telling you the league's not won. It's won in April and May. Don Smokes mentioned that at the start. The Vader I told you so is also with regards to this season. We have not seen your manager deal with a cup run, Champions League, as well as league play. And I said, listen, let's hold up. Everyone's looking pretty good. Hey, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a 3-horse race. It's going to go down to the wire. But I also need to see. Vader's going to tell you, and he's told you, how are you going to handle Champions League and the league? The matches are going to get congested. The matches are going to get quick and fast. And how is your manager going to show rotation? You can't rely on the main 11 or 12. And like clockwork, watches synchronized. Like clockwork, Arsenal drop points. Like clockwork, it's April, 6, 7, 8 games left, and Arsenal don't look so good. The pressure is kind of mounting. Everybody hated the fact that I wanted to talk about how one club deals with pressure versus the other. Vader and Don Smoke are here again. I told you so. Now, I'm not saying the league's over. I'd be disrespectful. I wouldn't be showing respect to what the league is, respect to my opponent with regards to Arsenal and Liverpool. But who's going to show the medal? Who's going to show that a poor result isn't going to affect everything moving forward? Don Smoke mentioned it. We were questioning whether Liverpool would have that bounce back after that Atalanta result. And they had a very poor game in the league. We're now also questioning how Arsenal were going to have that bounce back with regards to their performance versus Bayern. And now they drop points versus Aston Villa. Let's see what happens with regards to the league, Champions League in particular. City, we play on Wednesday. Arsenal play on Wednesday. We're playing Real Madrid. They're playing Bayern Munich. This is I told you so. This league is decided now. 6 games left. Don Smoke, what kind of lessons were you trying to prepare Liverpool and more importantly Arsenal fans this season?
You know, Vator, there's an African proverb that says, the belly does not swell if a woman is not pregnant.
All
Right. The
Yes.
signs are always there, right? A child
Yeah.
isn't just born, right?
Yes.
And
Very wise.
that's the thing for them. The signs were always there. We could see cracks, right? When Arsenal had was it Porto?
Yes.
You saw how they failed to deal with them, and from there you already saw the sign that no, these guys can't deal with adversity. They only play well when everything goes their way. Any form of sort of challenge, you can see that they go in their shells, and this is what we saw as well against Bayern, right? When Bayern brought it out to them, they were trailing, right? And that's why we saw on Sunday
Yeah.
against Villa. When Villa decided to play, they couldn't keep up with them, right? And it's so telling that Arteta bought Zinchenko and Jesus
Mm.
with him, because character-wise they were the most fragile from the City team.
Yeah.
So
But
it tells a lot about the manager that go on.
yeah. No, it says a lot in terms of what he was trying to bring to Arsenal though.
Yes,
Right? Like, even though he took over, and I agree with you, he took over 2 of the most emotional and I think, yeah, I know people get triggered when you hear weak, but like weak and
fragile.
fragile,
You just
yeah,
said
fragile. So he brought those 2 over, but the fact that he brought those 2 over in terms of our squad and where we categorize them, but also in his mind thinking, I need this over here because of imagine how weak or how
Mm.
fragile that locker room was already, where he wanted to bring a change, bring that difference over. So I agree with you. Let me put out a couple comments before we move on. And I appreciate everyone in the comments today. This show I'm trying to do on the regular. This time slot works for me because I can do it before getting into the workday. I know time zone wise, and I'm very appreciative to have Don Smoke on here as well. Let me shout out, and you're getting. Letty wants to say facts. Don Smoke likes what you have to say. Steve goes, the Arsenal fans overlook Aston Villa. They did. And you know what's also funny to point out? Arsenal fans were so quick to remind us, we took 4 points out of 6 from City. We're now in this position to be able to win this league. 4 points out of 6, 4 points out of 6, like it was a trophy. Do you realize that Unai Emery, former Arsenal manager, the man that they clown, good evening, they want to trash, they want to say, ooh, Unai Emery second season, he can't do it. Watch what happens to Aston Villa. He took 6 points off you, Arsenal. He took 6 points. So easy with the chirping. 4 out of 6. 4 points out of 6. Man took 6 points off of you guys. It's not about what you do directly to certain clubs. It's how you play against the entire 38 games. Guti, Guti. Twitter X, appreciate the comment, Guti. I know you got mad devices. You got clone devices. You got burners. Use your Manchester City burner account because I know you creep into those spaces. Go into YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe. Always appreciate it, Guti. Are you scared of Real Madrid? That's the last topic of the day. That's the last topic. Stay tuned. You'll hear how myself and Don Smoke speak about Real Madrid. Steve, I can see Villa challenging for the Premier League very soon alongside Newcastle United, possibly in the upcoming seasons. Steve, a large part of who's going to challenge and when will depend on managers. Obviously, it'll depend on squad. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the exodus of Klopp. It's going to be interesting to see how United strengthen, how Chelsea, quote unquote, strengthen, because those are all managers. But again, the way they're supported, I think the way they're funded, yeah, challenging for the league. Unai Emery, I don't sleep on this manager. He's a quality manager. He's won elsewhere. So yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. Now let me do this. Vator game. All right, so we're gonna move that. And this question's going straight to Don Smoke. I need to hear Don Smoke's perspective on this one. The next topic we have Rodri, Silva, Grealish, and Foden rested. Can you speak on your feelings of that, or what you noticed this means going into the Real Madrid game?
The happiest thing was I was happy that there wasn't really a drop off in performance wise.
Yeah.
Because normally when Rodri is missing, you feel the absence. But regarding, I think the one who needed it the most would be Rodri, because he's played like a crazy number of games, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Grealish and Foden as well, because he's also played, including the international games and whatnot. So I was happy that he did get that rest, because I think we just came from playing like 3 games in 8 days.
Yeah.
And I read the stat that we're the first English team to ever do that, right?
We're the first. Damn.
Yeah, to ever do that in the season, because normally you can get 3 in 9 or 10 or 11,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we did need some rest, because if you look at that Madrid game, that first half we were exhausted, literally. Plus the fact that we had to travel as well, so we were exhausted, and I think the rest would do them some good. And the fact that we won, I think it makes it even better.
Yeah.
Because then now, when they come in, your bench is also motivated and confident.
Yes. Yeah.
And they have some form in them as well, so that does help.
I agree. When I saw the starting lineup, I didn't tweet it, but when I saw the starting lineup and then I saw the bench, I was like, ooh, this bench is looking like good soup. This bench is looking like good soup in terms of if something needed to be sparked, if something needed to come off the bench and impact the game, we had it there. But I like how the starting 11 dealt with what was needed. I also like the fact that I agree, the performance was just steady, and you could see that the instructions that Pep gave them, there was the trust in, these guys will execute it. These guys can deliver on what's asked of them. And rest for Rodri, absolutely huge. The fact that he came out last season and said, I can't have a season like last season. I can't play that many games, that many minutes. I can't cover that much pitch. This season, him catching those extra yellows a little too early, those suspensions, I think helped a little bit. Him being able to rest, and Kova getting into form, being healthy, is giving him some coverage for Real Madrid. All those names right there, Rodri, Silva, Grealish, and Foden rested going to the game is huge. The fact that Walker and Ake were on the bench but not needed, hopefully their health is of quality, because I think they're going to be needed versus Real. But man, 5-1, but those guys on the bench, huge. What do you happen to think of who we need next in terms of a Rodri coverage? Do you think we can go another season with Kova being the guy until we find that right player? Or do you think we need to go into next season and definitely get a Rodri replacement? In essence, get a Calvin Phillips replacement because he wasn't able to do the role.
In terms of like for like, I think Kimmich is still my default option in terms of that he can play right back and he can play as a lone DM. Because I think what we
Mm,
don't have is a lone DM. Because even Phillips, he was never really the best of Phillips was in a pivot, right? Where Rice would
yeah,
sit and he would be allowed to roam around, right? Whereby the issue now is you don't get too many good lone DMs. I think they're phasing them out. Mostly now you get a hybrid of a 6 and an 8
yeah.
if you look around. So I think ideally I would want Kimmich and hence I think the Paqueta transfer is gold
Ooh,
because it
yeah.
allows Rodri to sit and Paqueta will do the running.
Yes, yes.
Because the reality is we don't have a box to box midfielder next to Rodri. That is why Rodri does so much.
Hmm.
Whereas with Gundo, Rodri didn't have to do so much. Whereas now Rodri has to do box to box and sit as well as a DM, hence the amount of space.
Yeah. The Paqueta. I'm waiting for the here we go for Fabrizio. I'm waiting for that here we go. That's going to be a party because his versatility is amazing. And if Rodri's able to, like you mentioned, if Rodri's able to sit and Paqueta can kind of do that, get up the pitch, be creative, be attacking, because Gundo did that too. Like
To a
he
T.
was magical. Yeah, he was magical with it. Almost where you're like, were you taught this? Like, were you born like this? It's just he found the right time. He was able to read the pace of the game, the moments, and get into those spots. I agree with you. I'm going out to the comments. Steve goes, Kimmich best position nowadays is right back. I'll be real. Bayern Munich are my German club I support. Okay, so he pays a lot of attention. I understand that. Probably his best position. But in terms of what Don spoke, and I agree with what Don was saying, the versatility, because we've also seen Rodri for international play
CB
center
to
back,
yes.
right? So the versatility is there, and I think being familiar with Pep is another thing that can help. Um, Abdi goes, Kovacic is a baller. Only injuries. Only injuries is why why the signing early wasn't like loved and celebrated. Only injuries is what kind of cost us a little bit from really going in on things for Kovacic because I thought his experience was huge for us, and how he's composed on the ball is really good. I think even the pace of the game, it's not past him. He's able to cover the pitch well. The only thing that gets me a little antsy sometimes, I don't know if you have the same way, Don, but sometimes I'm like, Kova, release the ball already. 2, 3 men are crashing on you. Pass that ball. He holds on to it a little bit because I think he wants to like slip in a pass or
No,
maybe
but the
get
thing
past.
is, I think the only issue with that combination is the athleticism, right?
Mm,
Between the two, because they're very good controllers of the tempo of the game,
yeah.
right? So they have similar profiles, right? Now, the thing is, Paqueta or Kimmich, they're more athletic. So the issue with that midfield is the turnover. When they
Hmm.
turn the ball over, the recovery isn't the way. Paqueta is
Yes.
actually quick,
Yeah.
right? Paqueta is quick and Kimmich is quick as well because he started off as a right back. Remember, Pepe is the one
Yep.
who moved him into the middle. So hence those were the two I chose.
Mm, I hear. Okay, I got you. Abdi goes, I don't want Rodri to sit back. No, it's not necessarily about sitting back and being like a defensive six, right? But to not have to cover as much pitch is really what we're saying because Rodri's been Rodri's been at the edge of the 18-yard box for us, and he's been deep into the attacking 18-yard box at times. It's we don't need him to do all of that. That's the only point. Mark Mancuniwe goes, I did hear transfer news. Oh, he goes, did I did I hear transfer news?
Too
No, we're just
soon.
a little speculating, a little talk, nothing crazy. Relax, Martin. Um, Steve agrees. He rates Kovacic. Samir goes breaking news. No, relax. No breaking news. Don't do any of that. Bruno G can play as DM and as a CM. Plus, has an eye for a pass. Very creative. I agree. Bruno, I think, was rumored, but
Yeah, but
again, go ahead.
I feel as if you'd have to pick one of the
Yeah,
two between Paqueta and Bruno,
yeah.
right? Because the issue is they're both starting players and they play for the national team.
Hmm.
So it's that thing of whereby you don't want to upset the apple carts as well, right? Whereby you
Ooh,
have too many starters in your team.
that's a great point. Now, I also want to say this: when you have players that choose not to be at City, they want quote unquote guaranteed playing time. They want to be a regular starter. That's fine. I have no problem with that ambition. I have no problem with that mentality. But also understand this: when you play in a Manchester City system, and I'm talking even before Pep, Mancini, Pellegrini, look at some of the wealth we had in terms of attacking positions, right? Tevez, Dzeko, Aguero, um, Martinelli. I'm saying Martinelli, Balotelli. The
Mm.
fact that we had all of those players competing for a spot, Nasri, Yaya, Silva, then came KDB. The fact that we had so much wealth and quality in terms of competing, that's what you need with regards to rotation, and that's what you need in terms of keeping that fire there, keeping a player staying accountable. Now, no disrespect to Cole Palmer, he's out there doing his thing, but he doesn't have that type of season at Manchester City, not because of him lacking in quality, but it's because of how players are managed and used here.
But
Go ahead.
that's also funny, right?
Yeah.
The reality is playing for Man City, you wouldn't get that much amount of space.
Another thing. He wouldn't
You
get
only
that.
get that you only get
Yep.
that space when you're playing for Chelsea. Because other
Yes.
teams don't rate you that much. Whereas the moment you play for City, it's a packed bus. You need to dribble three guys, not one.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Now, I'm gonna go to the comments before I go to the next topic. I see the clock. I'm being respectful of it, and let me go to the comments before I bring a very nice guest from backstage. But Samir goes, Ilkay Gundogan injured for Barcelona and unavailable for Barcelona's game today against PSG. Ooh, that's a
That's a
tough.
huge loss. That's a
That
huge
is a
loss.
tough loss. That is a tough loss. Barca are still obviously in control of this. PSG had moments, but I was still putting my money on Barcelona coming out of this. I don't know if you in the comments disagree, Don Smoke. I don't know if you had Barca coming out of this tie, but
Yeah, but with Gundo injured, that's solidity and attacking threat gone.
yeah, I agree. Dre P goes, I'm just excited to see exactly how Pep will use Paqueta or Bruno. It's never exactly how we imagine. No, this is why Pep, the mad genius, the mad scientist, the seasons are never boring. The seasons are never the same. Let's look at year one for Pep. Even look at year two with Centurions. Since Centurions, it hasn't been the same. It hasn't been the same approach. It hasn't been the same results in terms of yes, end of season. Are we showing armpits? Yes, with the exception of one. But how Pep's approached those games, how he's challenged those players, even how our systems have been, it hasn't been the same year after year. And I don't know what he's going to do with these players. I think these players bring a little more kind of like excitement and joy in terms of creativity because a manager always wants to be challenged. If he
You, you
gets
know,
either of those, go ahead, Don Small.
Vator, I think it would have been illegal to have Bernardo and Paqueta in the team at the same.
Uh, I don't see. I don't think City fans are ready to hear about not having two of them here. So let's pause this conversation because
Too soon.
it is too soon, and there might be some head losses to think that Bernardo Silva is not here next season. So let's chill on this one. Steve, I love Bruno, man. I don't think he leaves. Oh, you don't think he leaves you guys this summer? Okay. but he'll get a really good price for him. Facts. Yeah, I think you'll get top dollar for him as long as we reinvest smartly. I think the name of the game right now with regards to FFP or profit and sustainability, you're going to have to what goes out, you're going to have to properly use to replenish. And I think if Newcastle, Aston Villa, you're going to have to do it smartly. And I the way you've been moving, Steve, the way Newcastle United have been moving, I think you guys will continue to be smart and competitive. Letty goes, we can have them both if we loan out maybe Nunes. I'm not having this Nunes loan out combo. I'm not giving up on Nunes. It's early. Was Pep right to criticize his first touch? Yes. Can it get better? Yes. I like what I saw. In our last game versus Luton Town. And you're going to say it's just Luton Town. But Nunes, fractured finger and all, he's coming back. He'll be good for us. I like how he drives and runs with the ball. He just needs to maybe, I think, improve and keep that contact a little closer. Don't give players that are going to try and challenge him that much of a sniff at the ball. He just needs to have a little closer touch. Now, I'm going to bring in, you know him from many shows from his own channel, Mancunian Way, Martin. He has amazing spaces as well. Late hours for UK time, but fantastic for us on the East Coast out here in North America. Please subscribe to his channel. Check out his content. Support him. Martin, thanks for being on the show today. How you doing, man?
Good afternoon. How are you? How are you, Don? How is everyone?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. We got.
By the way, just to top that little this. There is no either or. It's Paqueta +1. Can we get this either or out of the room right now? It's one. It's Paqueta +1. That one can be Kimmich, Bruno, João Neves, whoever. Paqueta is coming in. Whether we sign him, and then a midfielder will follow.
Okay. So just to be clear, Martin Mancunian Way is telling us today it's Paqueta +1. All right, Paqueta +1. So it's not going to be the
plus other signings. Bonanza summer. Bonanza summer is what I got told.
Summer is okay.
You know, Vator, I'm a bit pissed. You only got these talking points. Right.
Hold on. No, hold on.
Oh, here we go.
Hold on. Don Smoke is upset with Vader Games TV with the structure of the comments right now, the topics, because he again maybe there'll be some bonus time. Well, there'll be some bonus time.
No. I think you missed the elephant in the room. Is that this is our transition season?
Okay,
that's what people don't get, and that's Martin's point in terms that we are rectifying our mistakes of the summer. So this is the weakest City you're gonna get for a while, and this just shows the magnitude of what we're doing this season.
Fair, and I've said this before. You guys missed it if you're just tuning in now, but please subscribe to the channel, hit a like. Mancunian Way, that channel on YouTube. Find it, search, like, subscribe. And if you're on Twitter X and you're interacting with this, you're watching, I try to do this show at least once a week, maybe a bonus show depending on timing and work schedule. But subscribe, hit the like button. I'm not always going to be doing this on Twitter X, all right? But I'm trying to obviously interact with those that I'm in spaces with, and hopefully you get a chance to kind of see me speak uninterrupted, right? Because on there's a lot of mutants on the Twitter X app. But I got Mancunian Way. Don Smoke brought up a great point. We do remodels, okay? We're in a transition. Don't get it wrong. 100% after winning a treble, after having players like Gundogan and Mahrez leave, Laporte, who's been important to us winning titles, and even the season before that, when we have talent, and again, we knew the right time to let them go in a Sterling and a Jesus and a Zinchenko. When we have players like that go, there is remodeling. We're touching up the kitchen. We're touching up the bathroom a little bit. It's not a complete rebuild, demolished like you see at United, like you've seen at Arsenal, like you've seen at Liverpool. We're doing little touch-ups. Now, this is a touch-up season, and I'm not speaking on it, but we're on our way to potentially winning. For those of you listening,
No. Do not mention that T word.
I'm not mentioning it. I wasn't even close to saying it, and that's hilarious coming from what you were referred to last season. For those of you that don't know, January last season, this man went by the name of Treble Fada. This is him. This is that guy, and he's trying to tell me to slow down. All I was doing was holding up.
Funny enough, I just saw Vator put 4 fingers up. That's all I saw.
Yes, that's all I was doing. I said we're on our way to potentially.
No, I'll go with a 4P. Yeah, 100%. But do you know what it is? I can't process in my tiny little mind. I'm just about processing the treble. I can't even comprehend back-to-back trebles. I can't do it.
We're not. No, we don't even speak on it because no, I'm not. I'm just enjoying. I'm watching it for the second time. The Together Treble came out April 2nd on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, Rivals and obviously City fans, go and check that out. Netflix. I'm just taking all of that in. I'm still reliving and celebrating that. I'm not even. My mind isn't even going there, but I'm going one game at a time. Like you know, Martin, on this channel. Go ahead, Don.
You know, Martin, that might be charge 116.
The charge 126 by the time we finish.
Oh my goodness.
No, but you got to remember the likelihood of Bernardo Silva going out the door is high, so you're gonna need to.
No, we're not doing that now, Martin. Martin, I told Don Smoke.
No, I'm just saying.
No, we're not just saying. No, we're not just saying.
You're gonna need you. It will be Paqueta +1. Now the list is quite extensive. I got told. Paqueta's done. There's João Neves has gone further down the list because there's a little bit of they don't want to really pay 103 million quid.
Martin, this isn't one of the topics.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the topics. My bad. So go on.
No, it's all good. It's all good. The transfer news and those, I'm sure City fans and rivals, they want to know. They want to know how City are going to be next season. But we're going to stay within the moment. We're going to stay within this game. We just happened to win versus Lutton Town. Before that, we had a draw versus Real Madrid. Now we're going into tomorrow, Wednesday. We got Real Madrid at home at the Etihad. We're going to stay within this moment. Now, I'm throwing this question to you, Martin. And I know you can't see it because you might be on your phone. Doku, Kovacic, Gvardiol. We were all told that. Why did City spend money on those players? Why? How do City only get them after winning a treble? How do they not strengthen better? I want you to speak on how those players were tested early in the season and whether you think that trust has now been acquired with those three players.
Yeah, 100%. I do think the trust is now there. I think it takes time to settle into a new team, a new system, and especially a Pep one. But I mean, personally, you got to look at the injuries we've had this season as well. I think, let me look at Doku for example. Do I think Doku will have played as much as he would have done? Say you'd have had Jack Grealish for some of the season. No, I think you'd have shared the minutes out a bit more. But obviously, there's been no Grealish, there's been no KDB, there's been, the various people we've not had. So they've had to come in at certain times in difficult times. I think Doku has really come on. I think he's learning the way. If you look at Doku at the very beginning of the season, he was a proper direct winger who just went forward. And now he's getting it. He's slow. He knows when to slow the game down. He knows when to trap back. He knows when to take his man on. He now gets it, and it's credit to him for the work rate he's put in. Kovacic has always been a Rolls Royce of a footballer. There's this myth that Kovacic has been injured while he's been at City. He's hardly been injured since he's been at City. I don't know where that little myth come from. I think people are looking at his Chelsea days. Gvardiol. The trouble is with Gvardiol, he was a left centre back, and we were playing him as a left wing back. And that can take time as well to get used to. And you're seeing in the last 4 weeks, especially, he's now coming into his own. Yeah. What we've got to stop doing is we've got to stop this. I've said this 1,000 times. We compare players 6 months into a City career to a player 7 years into a City career. And it's a very unfair thing to do. So, like, we're comparing Nunes and Kovacic or whoever to Gundogan. Well, you're comparing him to Gundogan 7 years into a career in his clutch moments when he knows the system and he's a lot higher regarded. You're comparing Doku to a Riyad Mahrez who's 7 years down the line in a Pep project. It's a very unfair comparison. Mm-hmm. These are young lads. Doku played less than 1,000 minutes for Rennes last season.
Yeah.
He was bought as a right winger, got moved to the left wing, had to readjust to that. And it's just all about patience. It's a patience thing.
Yeah, let me ask Don Smoke. Don Smoke, remember looking at how the season kind of started, how the players were used or tested, challenged, to seeing how they're now delivering now. Were you just patiently waiting to see it, or did you have doubts?
I think something that's happened. I don't know where it came from. Right, there's been, I think, a shift in expectations of Man City fans. Right, we were a very patient fan base. Right, I think, and that's also, I think, it's a result of being successful, right, and winning things every season. Our expectations of players jump off the roof. Right, you have 3 guys, right, who've never won a league title. Right, where they're coming from. And they probably three of the best players in whatever team they're coming from. So it's that thing whereby they're used to being praised, even when they get the 7 out of 10, and they come to a team that's just won the treble, right?
Yeah.
So there's a change in mentality, right, before even the performances and expectations, because it's that thing of whereby if other teams slip off, you don't really see the difference. Whereby a slip off from City is huge, right, and it's catastrophic, or we on a decline. So I think the fact that they've been able to handle the mental side of things and slightly fit in, that's why I'm very impressed, especially with the young guys, because Doku and Gvardiol, they're below 23 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because normally we used to always say that it takes at least a season under the Pep system.
100%.
Whereas now, few early bad performances where we are out here slagging players off as if they've been here for years. And hence, Martin is right that if you go back to your Gundos, your KD, all our top performers, their first seasons weren't so great. And we were even saying that they symbolic transfers. So I think it's just a matter of patience and let Pep do what he does, because he's proven to work.
I agree. And those of you that have been on this channel before, you've heard me speak and defend Gvardiol. You heard me defend Doku. You've heard me also say Kovacic in terms of that experience was needed. When you have a Gundogan that leaves, you need to have someone that's able to kind of like play and deal with the Prem, know what the Prem's all about, the derbies, the rivalries, the difficulties in terms of away games, as well as the challenges when certain teams come to town. Kovacic brought that experience. Now, what I'm so happy for in terms of, you know what, I was just as loud of a defender of those players is now when you look at this point in the season, when you look at what's needed to, again, go after this. And those of you listening and not watching, I'm holding up 4 fingers. When you go after something like that, you're going to have to trust players with everything. You're going to have to trust them in some of the most difficult moments within a season and when the pressure mounts. And I think how Pep was challenging Doku to play on that left wing, when he was also giving him certain instructions and saying, you know what, ignore what's being said about you. We know Pep's got a burner. We know Pep's on Twitter. We know he's on YouTube. He does not speak the way he speaks in press conferences without hearing this stuff, because it's almost word for word. It's almost some of these narratives, some of these agendas are just being addressed by Pep unprovoked, right?
So Pep hates the media, mate. I know that for a fact. He hates the media. There's been a lot. I said people have done this. Why aren't City fighting back? Why aren't City doing this? Why aren't City doing that? City are. They're doing it in their way.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola has played with the media all season, and nobody's seen it. Some City fans are seeing it because they're seeing what he's normally like, and he's changed his press comments now. He's now calling some journalists out in the media. He's calling them out in press conferences. And I love it at the minute. This is a pep of, no, you're going to keep writing out what you write about us and say what you write about us. We're not having it anymore. It plays around with injury news. Look, where Rodri the other day, he's having an arrest. Well, he'll have an arrest on Wednesday. Or am I joking?
Yeah.
He's playing with everyone now.
You know, Vator, to Martin's point, I think Pep has actually now embraced the Mancunian culture. And I think and I think this happened I forgot when exactly it was when he stood up to the media for us and he said that I will be here. If we get demoted, I will be here.
Yeah.
And watch his press conferences from then until now. You're gonna see a different. You'll notice that it's been a different Pep. Whereby he realized, whereby he's caught up to what the media has been trying to do, and he's like, okay, now it's an us against them mentality, and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah, and also when he's made the point on how, because he clocked it early. Oh, City are expected to win, and when other teams don't win, it's because of City, and he's already kind of positioned it like, I get it. You guys have them as media darlings, and I'm supposed to be the bad guy. Manchester City is supposed to be the bad guy. And
do you remember the quote, mate?
Go ahead.
Remember the quote he said? He said, only team. Well, there's the Stephen J, and then he turned around and said, the only team who can beat Manchester City is Manchester City.
Yeah.
He ain't giving praise to anyone anymore. He's had enough. The guy, and trust me, I've said this 1,000 times. People think I joke with this. Pep is on Twitter. Pep reads everything.
Agreed.
Pep reads everything that goes on. The players are all on Twitter. Why at the time when the Doku Grealish stupid stuff was going on, it got brought up in press conferences. You don't think when you're all typing away in your keys and everything else that it's never seen. It's seen.
Yeah.
How many times has he had to go at the fans this year about coming making noise at the stadium? Because if you notice, he always says our away fans are the best.
Yes, I have noticed that.
That's a dig at the atmosphere in the stadium this season. Come on.
Very specific, very particular, very direct. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He's a clever boy.
He is. All right, let me do this.
Vader game.
Now, obviously, topic-wise, I always have it broken down 5 minutes per topic. I don't know if we're going to need the entire 5, but it might transition into another conversation. But we know that there's a lot of people that have been impatient, don't quite think that Nunes is City quality or City material. I liked his game versus Luton. I like his game in particular. I do think there's a pace, there's a power, there's an aggressiveness that I like of Nunes. Pep was right to kind of say, listen, Nunes, you need to be on the training pitch. You need to work on that first touch. And that first touch isn't necessarily when the ball's coming to him. It's also on maybe how he places it to run into space and how to take on players. He messed up. He messed up in that game. And actually, let me start the clock. He messed up in the game, cost us not to have a clean sheet. I would have loved a clean sheet. I'll be real. But I don't think Nunes will make that mistake again. I don't think he'll look to not play controlled in that portion of the pitch for us. I'm going to throw this question to you, Don Smoke. Regardless of who we get in the summertime, do you think Nunes has a future next season at City, or do you think he's a potential loan player?
I think he has a future. The thing is, but I see that future in more wider areas.
Okay.
Right. That's how I see, because of his attributes, the pace, he can dribble, He's got an engine, right? So I see it's more like a Delph kind of thing, whereby you come in as a midfielder, but then we use and one of Pep's to Pep's credit, one of his best attributes is identifying what are you good at and then maximizing it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's and for some players it works against him, like Phil Foden, because he's so versatile. They shift you to the wings, right? And I see something similar with Nunes. At the end of the day, right? I think we're an honest fan base in terms of credit and criticism always goes down to the leader, right? And who's the leader of Man City? It's Pep, right? When Pep puts Alvarez in midfield and he doesn't play well, I don't blame Alvarez. I always blame Pep, right? So now the thing is, Nunes is not a deep lying playmaker. He never builds. Builds an attack from the back. He's never done it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he's played in a pivot, right? And he was the more advanced player. You can practice all you want. You can't replicate an in-game situation and pressure of taking the ball on the half turn. If you see Stones doing it now, that's because he's been here. I remember when Stones came in and he was losing the ball and they turned it over. Learning to deal with that pressure comes over time, right? And at times we take things for granted when we see a Rodri or Kovacic doing that, whereby they pass the ball on the first time.
Yeah.
No, they've lived that moment countless of times, so it becomes a norm.
And you know what's another thing, Don, I want to add to that is also when there was like that overemphasis on when we saw Rico Lewis or Oscar Bob, because they've gone through the academy and they've been doing this day in, day out, when it was like, Walker, why can't you do it? Or, you know what, why don't you do the system that's asked? Well, listen, one's trying to learn it as we go along, and one's just had to live and breathe it, was schooled by it throughout the academy. So there's a huge difference there. I agree with you in terms of the attributes, in terms of profile of player, love. It's just going to take a little more time to actually do it the way Pep wants.
No, true.
Now,
so hence I was going to put the last point, and I think that's the first time he's ever had to do it in his whole career.
Yeah,
in a serious game. So hence you're right that the next time he might learn how to handle those nerves, because remember there are players who are coming onto you, and any bad touch, it's a turnover. So hence I'm saying that you must understand that at the end of the day, these are humans with emotions. Like, football is not a movie. It's not a movie script where people are in character. No, you living it out, and and so hence I'm saying give him time. Like, he's never been in a title race before, right? In the Premier League, whereby it's crunch time, and every touch you make matters.
Every minute counts. Every touch counts. Every read of the game. Yeah, it's different. And it brings us back to these images right now. It brings us back to these images because, like, you look at Doku, you look at Gvardiol, trusted, right? You look at even Diaz. Diaz had a few slips, even that Chelsea game, that 4-4. All of these players challenged throughout the season, trusted at this point, and you have to be able to trust on your players, and they have to trust amongst themselves, because you can't doubt a pass that you're going to give. You can't doubt a player reading the game, because then everything kind of crumbles. You're only as strong as your weakest link. But I love the fact that they were so joyous and happy and celebrated a win early. And honestly, these images, I close my eyes and I see Trent upset, his head in his hands, disappointed at the result versus Crystal Palace. Declan Rice, 105 million signing for Arsenal, not being able to deliver a result versus Aston Villa.
But Vator, not to cut you off, to your point, when you look at Trent and Rice in those frames, that is experience of, we know what this means. Especially Trent, because he's been here before. He's like, I know what this result means. So it's not even just you're angry at the loss, you're angry of what's about to come, because you've seen this movie before.
Trent, I'm not gonna lie, losing this season, Klopp leaving feels more I feel more of it.
It means more to
It
him,
means
yeah.
more because this guy chirps and talks way too much. Him and Mo Salah they're way too chatty. And it couldn't have happened to a better player. Him coming back, being on that pitch, not being able to get the result, I'm all for it. Liverpool fans that happen to be watching, yes, Trent deserves this. Now, last topic, and it's the big one. We've got a game tomorrow. I know by design it's 5 minutes. It may end up being more than that. I tend to want to end my shows around the 115 mark. So we'll see where that leads us. But let me move this. Let me keep this clean as well.
Vator Games.
All right. Mancini way backstage. Oh, he's rejoined. Okay, there we go. Thanks for coming back. Now, we got a big game tomorrow. Guti was in the comments earlier, Twitter X. If you have any of you on Twitter X right now, I see the support. It's great. The YouTube numbers aren't quite there, so I know you guys are on the other app. You're on the other app. Take a minute. Use your burner. Use your desktop. Go to YouTube. Find Vator Games TV. Subscribe. I'm 16. I'm 16 subs away from 500. Let me get to the 500. Let me get to the 500. Go and subscribe. Let's get there. But we're going to talk about this huge game tomorrow. Huge game. Real Madrid come to the Etihad. Let me actually break this down. When City went to the Bernabeu, they closed the roof on us. When City went to the Bernabeu, a place that's hosted games from Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and they've had obviously their La Liga games. It wasn't until Manchester City, little old Manchester City, 130 years, we're celebrating a birthday. It wasn't until little Manchester City went to the Bernabeu that they had record attendance. Record attendance. Manchester City came to town and you have your greatest attendance. You know why? Because everybody wanted to see this show. Everybody wanted to see a game. Everybody recognized the battle that was going to take place. And we didn't disappoint. There was no pragmatic defensive football. There was no let's try to play conservative. We played and put on a show. The game ended up being a 3-3. Should it have been a 3-2? Maybe. But it was a 3-3. We'll take a draw at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. 14 UCL winners every day. We're now home tomorrow at the Etihad. We spoke about the players that have rested. We spoke about the players that are going to have an impact in this game. I want to talk about your perspective. Martin, I'm going to throw this question to you first. Real Madrid coming to the Etihad. I'm going to speak to you with regards to the fans. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like tomorrow at the Etihad?
Oh, tomorrow will be electric. There's already banners and displays planned, and yeah, the plan is there's a bus greeting at 6:30 for the players and the staff. Yeah, I think it'll be absolutely rockers tomorrow. It'll be like it was last season, and I love that we've gone into our usual mode. We're now into 5th gear. And I expect a tough game because Real Madrid, you got to respect your opponents. Don't fear them, respect them. But I genuinely think we'll go through tomorrow. And I think we'll go through quite comfortably.
Ben ended that by saying quite comfortably. Don Smoke, what do you think of knowing the players we have available? How do you see tomorrow's game?
Before I even go in that, one thing I can say is I think the biggest compliment we could have gotten this season was for Arteta, right? Was blitzing everyone, right? Playing free-flowing football. Came to the Etihad and parked the bus.
Yep.
They knew what the Etihad is, right? And I think it's one thing whereby we have to commend the home fans who show up and have helped make the Etihad a fortress. Because ask anyone, you don't win at the Etihad.
True.
You do not win. Opponents do not win, right? And that's not even with us playing good or bad. All we know is regardless As long as we play 90 minutes, our opponents will not win. And that is why the draw at the Bernabeu was such a huge result. And they knew. Look, trust. I've been watching Champions League for a long time, and never once have I ever seen Madrid ask UEFA to allow them to open, to close the roof.
It's our roof. Our roof. They haven't paid us back yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if people understand the magnitude, right? It's like Arsenal coming to the Etihad, and then we asking FA for special privileges.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the team that's won the most Champions League. These are the kings of Europe asking the stadium to be closed for little old city. Right.
Crazy.
Because they knew that if they are to win, they need to do it at the Bernabeu with such a huge margin that whatever we do at the Etihad won't bridge the gap. And hence, right now, it's just a matter of us being professional. I think that's all that's required, is us to be professional and not be overconfident and arrogant. Play the game, and because I believe if Madrid play their best football and we play the best football, we still blitz them.
Yeah.
So that's all we have to do.
I agree. I think we need to play to our level. And that's why I threw the question to you with regards to the players available. I love how, from a health standpoint, availability, Pep will have the options. Obviously, I like how the approach with regards to the press conference is always before the last practice. So Pep can allude to or choose not to answer and say certain players are or aren't available. We'll know in practice. We'll know in training. I like the available players. I think, again, we play to our level. We play to we play to the level that we showed at Real Madrid. I think we do win at home. That extra boost with regards to the fans there, the home, the away traveling fans, they're all going to be in that house.
Will they? Will Real Madrid fill their end out? Not sure.
That's true. That's true.
You know, Vator, funny enough, right? During the last week's game, I could hear Blue Moon.
Yes.
On the television. I heard a Blue Moon being sung.
It was great. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I think, and I want to shout out some of the comments. You guys have been amazing in terms of supporting the channel. I see you, Charlie. Charlie says, I cannot wait for tomorrow. The atmosphere is going to be incredible. One of the best. Will also be, now, let me point this out, Charlie, and thanks for being on the show. Everyone in the comments, Letty, Dre P, Steve, Abdi. Listen, Abdi, to answer your question, I'm on YouTube and Twitter X. I'm not on Twitch, but that may be something that I'll do moving forward. I tend to leave Twitch for my gaming. Martin knows about the gaming, and we'll that's.
Yeah, he's avoiding me again at the minute.
I'm not avoiding you. I'm not avoiding you. We're gonna get some games in this weekend.
No, you're avoiding. By the way, I'm not told you. I've moved for tomorrow night.
You're what?
I've moved. I'm in the Kipax zone.
Oh,
tomorrow.
Are you? You're not in the family stance for tomorrow night. Whoa,
No.
That's huge. That's huge. Martin's gonna be making a ruckus tomorrow. That's amazing, man. Hopefully you can. Obviously, before the game, you can kind of show what the atmosphere is like. Obviously, in game, you're gonna be full.
I'll make sure the atmosphere gets rolling tomorrow.
You know what that means? That means Martin's not gonna have his voice. He's gonna do the show post, and his voice is gonna be all hoarse, and you're gonna barely be able to understand him. But no, that's great. That's amazing, man. And Charlie, you're absolutely right. I want to also point out, Bottle Job Arteta. What's up, Vader? Yo, appreciate it. Listen, Charlie says,
wow, they've all changed.
Yeah, that's messed.
Wow.
That's messed. We have a full fit squad. We do at the right time. He says, big up the panel. Yeah, large up Don Smoke and Martin every time, man. Now, Charlie goes.
Are you mentioning Saturday, by the way? Sorry, just while I double check. Are you talking about Wembley or are you leaving that?
I'm leaving that for now because again, I think we'll deal with Real Madrid one game at a time, and then whether on your show, whether there's a bonus show possibly, but no, we'll talk Chelsea another time. This Real Madrid game, it's continues to be special because this is happening in the Champions League. This isn't a given. Like, we could have easily been on opposite sides of the draw and not face each other. The fact that we are is huge. I'm not going to spend much time, but if this Super League format is to be what it is, I'm not gonna enjoy it because of how regularly these matchups will happen. I think they still need to be very special. I think they still need to be unique. Champions League, you do the tweaking, you find the right way to do this. But these games, Champions League, Real Madrid, special night. Do I see us winning? I do. Can I predict the score? No, and I don't think any City fan should predict the score right now until we see the 11 and see who Real Madrid have available. But I agree with what Don Smoke and Martin said. We play to our level. We play to our system, our attack, our philosophy. I think we get the result here. And we need to be one game at a time. Rivals, I know you want us out. I thought last year's energy was immense. I thought last year's hate was tremendous. This has reached another level. I will not dare say the T word, but I've noticed how now the media, Talk Sports, Sky Sports, they all want to talk about the T word. This is applied pressure. Go ahead.
Sorry, mate. I'm just going to say, because I'm sorry, I've got to be in a bonnet on this. So I do apologise. 2 weeks ago, when Arsenal were coming to the AM and they got that 0-0, what I read everywhere was it's the most competitive league. City were crap. City had fallen off by 10 levels. Blah, blah, blah. And Arsenal had the best goalie, best defence, best midfield, best everything else, apart from striker. Yeah? Come on, you know the rhetoric. Yesterday, I read it's a farmers' league. It's non-competitive. No one can compete with Manchester City anymore. City have got the biggest squad and the strongest squad in world football. What has happened in a week? Well, why is the rhetoric changing? 115's now come back out again for some weird reason. We've gone top of the league and we've got a big game coming up. So let's roll out 115 and come up with some more fake stuff. But what is this?
Yeah.
If you think we don't see the games you're all playing, you are mad. We see what you're doing. What you're doing is you're getting your little excuses in and you're getting everything ready to roll in case this happens. This is what you're doing. Because 2 weeks ago, we said we were all keeping receipts. We go on other shows. We see and hear what people get said. People were sat there telling me Arsenal were going to do the double. And they very much, listen, they may still do that. There's not one City fan saying we won the league yet. What we're saying is we're in pole position now. There's a big difference. You've allowed us through that front door, and it's up to us to kick the door down. What you're doing, and it's now it's annoying me how the rhetoric's changed. But I've kept receipts. I've got names.
Yeah,
I'm ready to roll in 3 weeks.
Listen, I'm in agreement.
Sorry.
And the thing, no, that's fine. No, that's fine. I think it's like clockwork. It's like Groundhog Day. You can synchronize your watches to it. It's just a matter of, and it happened. It was happening before Martin. Don Smoke, you know this. When we would get into the knockout stages, they'd have to talk about UEFA band or FFP. Like, it was it's scripted. It's like the Matrix in terms of how this is programmed. They do this every time. I'm not surprised by it, and I'm blocking it out. But I want to point this out, and before we kind of wrap up the show. The hate last season was wild. Absolutely wild. The dark cloud in terms of 115, how they wanted to talk about City ruining football, all that kind of stuff. Every rival not wanting us to even not win a treble, but not wanting us to win Champions League. And then after winning the league, obviously after winning the league, you got to win the FA Cup. After the FA Cup, you got to win Champions League. But the hate just grew. Now this pressure, this hate is at another level. It's exceeding last season. It's exceeding last season because they all believe that what we're doing isn't good for football. I'm hearing rivals talk about no rival club should want City to win a four-peat. Well, records are there to be broken. Records elevate a league. Records elevate other clubs. Rivals other than United should want City to win this four-peat. And the reason why is you shut up, United fans. You shut up the rags from talking about their three-peat, their trouble. They still talk about it, even though we've matched it. But again, we matched it. They won it first. And they're quick to tell us that. Rivals, change that energy. Energy cannot be destroyed or created. Okay? The energy's there already. Adjust the energy. City winning this four-peat, hear me out. City winning this four-peat will shut United fans up. Shut them up. You know, City fans, we're humble. We're not going to be throwing this in your faces. We're going to be winning and moving on with our business. We won the treble last season. We celebrated amongst ourselves, and then we moved on. We weren't throwing this in your face constantly like how United fans have been doing it. Martin, you're ruining my... How are you... Martin, Martin just threw it out there. He's going to do... All right. Let me say this. I appreciate all of you, everyone in the comments for being a part of the show. Don Smoke from the jump, appreciate, man. I know the scheduling, timing doesn't quite always work out, so always appreciate it. Everyone in the comments. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying always a pleasure, man.
No, bless. And I know you always represent, you have hope at the football hut, the smoke all the time. And I'm glad we were able to link up. Martin, I know you've got a lot, obviously, how devoted son you are and how you're managing things with your family. So thanks for being on the show. Tomorrow's going to be huge.
Anytime, mate. No, just let's say the only reason I'm going to be shameless because I've had enough this season.
No,
it took me to breaking point. I've had enough this season, and I am going to absolutely ram it down every single person's throat. You are going to see a very different me if we do what we may do in the summer. If we finish with these trophies, I'm being shameless. I don't care. I have been on so many shows and had so much stick from people telling me, if you allow the worst Manchester City team, in your opinion, in the last 4 years to win a title, shame on you. Shame on you, because you won't get another chance next season.
Okay.
All this whilst Arsenal are having an amazing season. That shows you the contrast.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I see the comments.
I'm fighting back, later.
They're lined up with you. They're in agreement. No, I'm with you. I understand it. Everybody in the comments. I see ZX in the building. German are moving sus lately. Klopp. Oh my gosh, this guy's jokes. I showed Letty. He's in agreement with you, Martin. Wiseman goes. You're doing great. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Love. I'm trying to do
get
more
this
content.
guy. Never mind 500. Get him to 1,000. Honestly, you will never meet a more humble gentleman. Forget the City fan. He's a gentleman. He's one of the nicest people in the world you'll ever meet. Honestly, I've speak to him privately on the regular. He's generous. He's helpful. He checks in on me. Honestly, hit that subscribe button and you will not go wrong with Vator. And I'm going to push it across my channel on Thursday night and we will get you. Never mind 500. We're going to get you to 1,000, mate.
Appreciate it. The interaction's great. I've exceeded the 115 in terms of the length of the show. We're at 120. Hopefully that's not an almond for anything that we do moving forward. But I'm very blessed to have Martin and Don Smoke on the show today, and all of you in the comments being a part of it. If you happen to be on Twitter X watching this, go over to YouTube, hit that sub button, hit that like button. It does tremendous for this channel in terms of how it grows. And I'm doing this before actually sneaking off to deal with my workday. But love to everyone. This is Vator Games TV, episode 99. All right, episode 99. City, we win big, 5-1 versus Luton Town. We put pressure on Liverpool and Arsenal, and they crumbled. They crumbled. We put that pressure on them playing on a Saturday. They played on a Sunday. And here's the reactions of Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester City. Doku, Gvardiol coming out big. Now, catch me next show. You know that by getting the notification button. You know what I got going on. And rivals, continue to see and hear me. But more importantly, make sure that you listen, look and listen, because what myself have to say, what Don Smoke and Martin have to say, it's really important. We ain't talking nonsense. We ain't doing the agenda narrative things. We're talking based off of City fans and how we enjoy the sport. So I'm gonna shut things down. Much love to everyone. The comments, tremendous. If you watch this on a replay, hit me up with a comment. You can still be part of the show. You can help influence how I do the next show. All these topics were discussed. I'm Vator Games, Don Smoke, Mankini Way. Subscribe to the Mankini Way. Support it. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button. And we're out.
Cheers.